In this video, we will understand some of the code requirements of the piping support.
So what is the piping code mentioning? So we will talk about the piping code 31.3 because 31.3, this clause number 321.1.1 specifically mentions why a supporting should be done for the piping. If you refer 31.1, you will find that 31.1 will directly guide you as to what is the distance of the supports and what is the minimum span which is to be followed if the pipe contains some liquid or water, or if the pipe is empty, and what is the pipe size, etc. So it will directly give you what is the distance between the two supports. But the piping code, which is 31.3, will give you only the importance and the basics of the supporting, and leave everything to you to judge for yourself and find out and set your norms and proceed further. So this is giving you a lot of liberty in deciding the supporting. So we are concentrating on 31.3. 31.1 is bit easier because it directly gives you a good guidance on the supporting. So let us continue further. Next slide, please. So our first purpose, the code says that we want to reduce the stresses in the piping. So if you see a pipe which is supported between the two structures, you will naturally find that the pipe will sag once the pipe is supported and it is let loose. So yeah, okay. So that is how the piping is going to sag in that case. And then let us see, if you want to avoid the sagging, what do we do? So if this sagging is exceeding a limit, then we must provide one additional support in the suitable place so that we reduce the sagging between the two supports. So that is the basic purpose of reducing the stresses in the piping. The support will give you a proper guidance as to how to limit the limit the sagging in the piping. So next slide, please. So the first purpose, reduce the stresses. The second purpose, the code says, is we have to avoid the leakage across the joints. So what are the different types of joints? We have one is a welded joint, another is threaded joint, third one is a socket welded joint, butt welded joint, and last one is flange joint. But if you talk of all the types of joints, you will find that all the welded joints are going to be very strong, and they will not yield under simple stresses. But if you talk of a flange joint in a piping, then you will find that after a lot of stresses are developed in the piping, the flange will try to open up. So if you see the effect that is going to happen is shown like this here. You can see that if the stresses are very high, which are passing through the nut bolts, etc., which are going to be somewhat delicate elements, the gasket and the nut bolts, they are somewhat delicate elements as compared to the connected rigid piping and flanges. So they will start yielding, and you will find that it will start leaking out to the atmosphere. So with the next click, you will find that how we should avoid such a thing. So next click, please. Yeah, okay. So that is how you will be adding one more support here, and then you will find that the stresses which are passing through the guide now or through the flange joint are now under control, and the joint will not leak. So that is the importance that the code says, that we have to avoid leakage across the joints. So next slide, please. Then our next purpose is going to be reduce the loads on the sensitive equipment or the supports, so or nearby supports. So here we can see there is one configuration shown. The blue color is the pipe which is connected to a nozzle of a sensitive equipment, and we have some supporting in front of that. Now, if we find that the nozzle equipment is heavily loaded, then with one click you will find that, yes, one click, please. Yeah. So with additional support which is nearby the equipment, you'll find that the loads on the sensitive equipment will reduce. And this is the one more purpose of supporting, to reduce the loads on the sensitive equipment and or some supports which are heavily loaded due to the insufficient supporting. So that is our next purpose. Let's go to the next slide, please. Yeah. To now, our next purpose is to avoid excessive loads on the support. So here you can see there is one pipe of 24-inch NB, which is a heavy pipe, And if it is filled with water, you know the kind of loads that it is going to carry. And it is supported on a pipe rack structure with some shoes. Now these shoes are only three in numbers, and here you will find that the loading on each structural element or the structural column in this is going to be very heavy, and the structure is not evenly loaded. So if you want to evenly distribute the load across the structure, what you can do is you can add some more supports in between. So with the next click, you will find that one more click, please. Yeah. So these are the two additional supports that we have added, which will evenly distribute the loading of the piping over the structure, and then it will make a structure which is going to be somewhat economical than the previous one. Otherwise, the few of the columns will be very heavy, another few structures will be very light, and it will not be a very evenly distributed structure. So that is going to be very kind of evenly distributed support. Okay, structure. Okay, so coming to the next one, please. Interference with the structure. Now here what you see is one pipe, say pipe number one is going to be hot, and pipe number two is say a cold one. So in case the pipe number one is hot and it gets heated, what is the expected movement of the pipe is this. So what do you see here? What kind of thing that you see here? Anything, anyone can, do you notice what is happening when you have a pipe which is expanded? Yeah, it is falling, it is clashing. Yes, it is clashing with the pipe which is running nearby. And also it is clashing with one more case. What is that clash is? With the pipe and then with the structure also. So with the next click, you will find that one more click, please. Yeah, there. So you have both places where the pipe has got expanded and then it is hitting either the pipe or nearby structure. So the supporting should be such that we do not want such a displacement of the piping which will interfere with existing areas around the main hot pipe. So that is another purpose of this supporting. So let's go to the next one, please. So here we have one pipe which is supported on a structure. Now with the kind of expansion that we saw earlier, what do you think will happen over here? The kind of expansion that we see. Yeah, it will slip. Yeah, right, very right. So the people are expecting. So with the next click, you will find that the pipe, which was earlier sitting nicely on the structure, it has got slipped to a different position. And even after withdrawing the temperature with a cycle, this pipe is not going to jump over and sit on the structure. So this will be permanently dislocated and permanently displaced from the structure that it was supposed to support the pipe, and that is how it is a irreversible situation that has come. So this is in the section we have seen. So let us see the next configuration. Now here what you see is the pipe in the side view is supported on a structure, and with expansion, what will happen is the shoe will displace and it will fall down. And now here you will find that if the temperature is withdrawn, what is going to happen? If now the temperature due to the cycle that the line is going to subjected, if it is withdrawn, what do you expect? It will go and hit the structure which is going to be there, and this hit will be in the form of a direct hit from the side. Yeah, it will hit against the structure directly, and it is not going to again jump over and sit on the structure. And that hit is going to be very damaging to the structure, because this structure is not going to be designed for the kind of loads that it is going to be seeing. And that is why we do not expect the pipe to slip down from this and then cause the damage to the existing structure. So what do you feel should be the solution for this? Suppose we come across such a situation that the pipe is moving so much that it has got slipped from the structure. What could be the solution for this? What we need to do here is we need to have an extra long shoe which will ensure that even after a good amount of displacement of the pipe does not slip on this. So these all such studies will need to be done when we do a stress analysis. And once we identify that, then only we will be able to find out the solution to this. So that is a part of the supporting and the stress analysis which is to be done. Very nice. Okay, now let's go to the next slide. So now here what you see is a pipe which is sloping and supported on the structure. So now why should a pipe have slope? And so in all such cases, what we see here is now if your distance between the two supports is so large that your slope and the sagging of the piping is higher than the slope. With one more click, please. Now here what you'll find is one more click, please. Yeah. So there you'll find that actually the slope between the two lines is smaller than the sagging which is taking place. So here the situation is very grave because now the very purpose of giving the slope is defeated. The sagging which is shown in the piping is now higher than the slope itself. So we should avoid such a thing, and we should reduce the distance between the two supports which is supporting such pipes to avoid this heavy amount of sagging. So
Our flagship courses are Master Static Equipment Design and PVE Light, ASME Section 8 Division 2, and Master Welded Storage Tank, as per API 650. We have curated courses to suit your learning needs, depth training. And to learn more about these courses, register with the link in the description.